want to, we can leave your friends behind. Cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're no friends of mine. I said, we can go where we want to, place where they will never find. And we can act like we come from out of this world, leave the real one far behind. We can dance. We can dance. We can go when we want to, the night is young and so am I. And we can dress real neat from our hats to our feet and surprise them with the victory cry. I said, we can act if we want to, if we don't, nobody will. And you can act real rude and totally removed, and I can act like an imbecile. I said, we can dance, everything's under control. We can dance, doing it wall to wall. We can dance, everybody look at your hands. We can dance, everybody's taking a chance. Who's to say to dance? Who's to say to dance? Who's to say to dance? Who's to say to dance?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports, and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. If it's Thursday, it's I'm No Joe. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to America's favorite punchy kicky podcast. That's right, the I'm No Joe podcast, where we punch microphones when we get too excited. Oh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, where every armchair quarterback can feel like an Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, we have got an interesting shit show to break down for you and a glorious panel full of folks to get into it with. So before we get too deep into the shenaniganry, let's go around here and introduce this beautiful panel of fuckers here to get into the shit with me. First and foremost, cleaned up around the edges over there. Almost highlights that little thing coming in on your cheeks there. This new guy looking fly. Look at you, RJ. What are you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good, man. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm working on it. Good to be here this week. You know, kind of excited for the card. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good show.
There's some good stuff to talk about for sure. And as is the case, the interim new guy himself, the coveted purple strap holder, the freshest guest a man could ask for, Mr. Fresh 03. How you doing this evening, sir?
Doing all right. Headache's a little bit better than it was, so can't complain about what's improvement on that front. So
there you go. Glad to hear it. Glad you're here, brother.
Right.
And as is the case more often than not across the octagon from myself, as it were, my Wednesday night homeboy, my combat shit-talking compatriot, the one and only Golf T Vapes himself. How you doing, TJ?
Doing fantastic. The card was better. Unfortunately, we've had some changes, but hey, it's something, and it's better than these last two hangovers that we've had.
That's what I was just going to say. A, it's something. B, it's better than what they've been spoon-feeding us. So, you know, I'll take it at this point. It's absolutely not what we originally got excited about, but there's still a few diamond in the rough potentials, as it were, that we'll get into here in just a little bit. Before we dive into UFC 260, there is a little bit of a recap I want to go over real quick about some of the things from last week's that card was fucked from the get-go. Last Saturday's card was just fucked. There was so much that looked like it could have been and wasn't, and so much that shouldn't have been that turned out. I will say it was a good night to be named Bruno. The card got opened with a fucking spectacular knockout and shut down Mr. Soup Can himself. Bays got leveled. Bruno Silva just fucking ended his hype train that goddamn quick. I was so fucking happy to see it too. And then Jackson comes out after that and decides that he and Strader have to try and one up it. And they go for the round 1 finish. Minute 58. Jackson says, "You know what? Good night, Dink." All she fucking wrote there. Literally going the opposite direction. We get Dawson, who comes out and decides, you know what? I'm going to go for that very last second. I want that Yair Rodriguez attention. 4 minutes, 59 seconds into the 3rd round. Oh my God, as close as you can fucking get to just going to the judges. Razor fucking thin. In his 155-pound debut at that. So Grant Dawson might just be a lightweight now. Not that he ever really looked bad at featherweight, but making a lightweight debut like that, showing that you pulled that kind of power to the last second, that'll get you attention in a lightweight division, especially the way things are shaking up right now. I will say the only part about the next fight here that disappointed me is that we're this far into it. We're this experienced in Apex fights at this point, and nobody can get this man a beer. I know for a fact that the VIP lounges in the Apex that I have seen videos from have full bars in them. Can no one get tied to Ivasa a fucking beer? How many people does he have to put to sleep in the Apex before someone gets that boy a wobble pop? Crying out loud. He's just putting people into fucking orbit every time they get him a chance. And that Hunsucker never stood a moment's fucking chance in there. He came out looking like he was ready for the show, but he had no idea what he was fucking in for. We kind of thought it was going to go that way, and sure the fucking off. Ty don't play. When you give him that fucking T-ball, he's going to take it, and off she went. But
yeah, he got
fucking
made him angry.
Yeah.
Then he tied to Ivasa angry. Landed a couple solid shots on him, and next thing you knew.
Yeah, it's never a good idea to get that guy angry. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Then fuck me for not paying more attention. To be fair, he kind of earned it himself. But Yanez, holy fucking shit. Talk about somebody who walks out of left field and just looks like they've been there their entire fucking life. I don't, excuse me. I don't honestly know that I have ever seen anyone come from the soup can leagues and walk into the bright lights with less effect. Yanez came out there and looked like he'd been standing in the big boy octagon with the likes of fucking Cowboy for a decade. He could not be shaken. He could not be bothered. He was cool, calm, and collected. He was precise with his fucking strikes. He was smart with his movements. Just looking like an absolute fucking seasoned veteran. Just smooth start to finish, patient as all get out. And when the time came, pop goes the fucking weasel. I'm not gonna say I'm buying the ticket full on. I'm not jumping on the train just yet, but goddamn it, I'm paying attention. I'm gonna get one of those little brochures and I'm gonna start reading up a little bit. I'll put it that way. fucking Yanez, man. Keep an eye on that fucking kid. I'm telling you right now. Keep an eye on that fucking kid. Then we get to some of the controversy. I didn't catch it in the moment because, like most of the time, I watch these fights on mute because I don't need to hear the bullshit that Michael Bisping or fucking Brendan Fitzgerald or DC, whoever dumbass of the week is on there talking fight night nonsense. So I didn't hear in the moment what had happened, but apparently after Lady Soup Can, Cheyenne Bays came out and got absolutely fucking headlock handled 3 fucking rounds in a row with no opposition given. In the process of standing up, Ruiz said something in Spanish, and because of the mouthpiece, it popped. Well, when she said that, Mrs. Soupcan thought that she spit on her, which is where the late punch came into play and why the middle fingers were thrown out. She thought Ruiz spit on her and then posted the video in slow motion of the end of the fight on Instagram to justify it. The problem is, in the video that she posts for her own defense, you can see clear as fucking day. There's no spitting. There's no intention to spit. It doesn't even look like she's trying to spit. You can see as she's standing up, she starts talking, and immediately Lady Soup Can starts throwing punches and then giving the finger and making all kinds of claims. You got handled. You didn't understand when your opponent was trying to talk to you and then tried to start a fight and lie to cover it up. But your own bullshit actually helped to further expose you. So kind of like I said Thursday, the Soup Can couple can fuck all the way back off to the Soup Can Contender Series because neither one of them fucking belong here to begin with. And it got very clearly shown on Saturday night. Not that Ruiz...
Yeah, how do you
Go
say
ahead.
9 minutes ground control in Spanish?
No shit. Not that Ruiz was the world breaker, but again, 9 minutes of ground control, and the majority of that 9 minutes was literally spent in a side headlock, just punching her in the fucking noggin over and over and over and over, and no answer. Bays had absolutely no fucking answer and no defense to stop it. She rode almost 10 of the 15 minutes on the ground getting her face punched in.
I think the greatest thing about that, for this reason, last name Bays. It's spelled buys. That bitch needs to buy some self-defense classes because that'll teach you how to get out of a side headlock. How is it that you make it into the UFC and can't figure out how to get the fuck out of a side headlock? Look,
She had a
For
divot
9
in her
minutes.
fucking, she had a divot in her fucking forehead too.
Yes, she did.
they teach
She
that
earned
in
it.
low-level grappling classes. They teach that in the lowest of low Army combatives class, the mandatory one you learn in basic training. That's something everybody should know, how to get out of that specific side headlock when you're on your back on the ground. That's not a hard fucking thing to do. I don't care if you're in the middle of a UFC fight and the bright lights are on you. That should be second nature at this level. You should never have made it to this level without being able to do that. I hope she gets fucking walking papers.
Well, that, and it's not like it happened one time and it lasted for 10 minutes. It happened almost exactly at the midway point of round 1, and Ruiz fucking held her there and pounded her face literally in a circle on the fucking mat until the round ended. And at the very end of the round, she tried to make an effort of it, but it still was futile. And then round 2, right about the halfway point, Ruiz puts her to the fucking ground, grabs her in that side headlock, spins her in a fucking circle, punching her in the head in the middle of the fucking canvas over and over. End of the round, she tries to make a valiant fucking effort. Too little, too late. Third round, you guessed it, right about the fucking middle of the round. I think it was even a little bit earlier in round 3, just because fucking Bays came out trying to throw stupid wing and desperate shots early, and Ruiz was like, oh, cute, thump. But, like, it happened over and over and over. And even the few times that they actually rolled into some action on the ground, Bays had little to no defense to anything that Ruiz was sloppily throwing out there. It just was dominant fucking control. It was a real light workout for her. So yeah, I agree. I hope both of the fucking Bazes get their goddamn walking papers. They showed that they lucked their way through the Contender Series and did not belong in the fucking Big Show. So send them fuckers right on back to the Bush Leagues, man.
So I only have one problem with what happened in that fight, the whole controversy and the shit that's been going on. Is one, if you are any type of athlete and you wear a mouthpiece, you know whenever you spit and you have a mouthpiece in, you don't spit with your lips like a normal person does. You have to spit with your tongue. So you're not gonna you're not knocking your mouthpiece out.
Yeah,
Two,
otherwise, I'll say otherwise.
if you have a mouthpiece in and that bitch fucking falls out whenever you're talking, you got a problem. If I can sit here and talk, why is yours falling out? I don't understand that. I have to. I'm getting tired of seeing fucking mouthpieces fall out because that's becoming very prevalent.
Yeah,
I have a
it is.
massive problem with that lately.
You seen it, folks.
I
Right
can
there
talk
live
with
for you.
I can talk with mine in perfectly fine because I live in a fucking mouthpiece 4 years of my life now.
Right. Yeah, no, I hope the cans get sent back down to the Bush Leagues. I really do. But that will bring us to one of the oh shit moments of the evening. We knew it was going to be very competitive. I did not know it was going to be quite that competitive. The lullaby was sung for song. Max fucking Griffin came out with authority and precision and just ended that fucking fight with power. We knew Song Kanan was not going to make it easy, and he definitely didn't come out there and just fucking stand there, but Max Griffin is looking pretty fucking good lately, and he made pretty fucking light work of Song Kanan, and that's not anything to shake a stick at. Max Griffin's really getting fucking competitive here, and he's starting to take out everybody they put in front of him lately. It's going to be not too much longer here before there's some highly numbered folks getting matched up with him, I think, and we're going to see just exactly where Max Griffin is at, because right now he's leaps and bounds above everyone they put him in front of, including the likes of fucking Song Kanan, who is a warrior. I was vastly fucking impressed. I can't say I was surprised because we've known that Max is fucking strong, but the way that he put it together, hot diggity damn. He's not fucking playing around anymore. He had a Masvidal-esque transformation where he just decided he's not going to play the decision game anymore. He's just going to start ending fights. And he is. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes, because the Max Griffin that we saw early on very much is back. He's not playing around anymore, and he's going to be a big fucking problem, I think. That's a crazy fucking weight class to begin with. And with a guy like Max willing to swing his way up through some fucking killers, it's not going to be too much longer before he's in the conversation if he keeps it at this rate. I'm definitely going to keep watching. That's for damn sure. But that'll bring us to the main event of the evening. I will say this, to be fair, they don't call him Big Mouth because he's quiet. Kevin Holland literally spent more of the 5 rounds of that fight talking to both Derek Brunson, Herb Dean, and Khabib outside the ring sitting cage side than he did actually paying attention to the fight. But in my opinion, we did learn 2 things from that fight. One, Kevin Holland is a skilled fighter. He very much is, to a point. Because two, while he might have looked very impressive in some of his earlier fights, including that match against Jacare, when he stepped in there against Derek Brunson, it was very evident that Kevin Holland is a very small middleweight. When we first saw him, he pulled the same trick that Khamzat Chimaev did. We saw him at 170 and 185. So then when he went back to get quote unquote comfortable and fight, 185 seemed like the natural decision, until we realized that when he steps on the scale at 182 and a half, he's going to step into the ring at 182 and a half because he walks around at 182 and a half. That's not a problem in some of the lower weight classes. That's not a problem at all at lightweight. If you weigh 153 and 3/4 pounds and you walk around that, and then you walk onto the scale at 153 and 3/4 pounds and you fight at 153 and 3/4 pounds, that's not going to be a whole lot of an issue. But when you're talking about that game up on the bigger ends with some of the bigger boys, with some of these middleweights that step on the scale at 185 pounds, but they walk around at 205, at 210, that's a little more of a problem when you step on the scale at 182 and then you get into the ring at 182 and they're getting in the ring at 210. We saw that Saturday night. Kevin Holland is his walking around weight, and Derek Brunson looked noticeably bigger than him. And when he took Kevin Holland to the ground, and he did frequently, Kevin Holland just literally could not get out from underneath him. And at one point in his corner, his coaches told him, stop letting him hold you down, get out from underneath him. And he looked his coach dead in the eye and said, I'm fucking trying. I can't. That to me says that despite the crazy performance we saw him against Jacare, some of the other great fucking middleweight occurrences we've seen from him were really just flukes, as strange as that is to say. I think that 170 Kevin Holland is going to be where he gets to show his skills, because at 185, he just isn't big enough of a frame to compete with the bigger 185ers. And if Brunson can hold you down and have his way with you, some of the real killers, Kelvin Gastelum would walk a mud hole in Kevin Holland's ass. I'm fairly fucking confident. So I think 170 Kevin Holland might be a better look. Even though we've seen some crazy performances at 185 from him, I realistically think welterweight Kevin Holland is going to be where it's at for him.
I have to disagree on this one. For this reason, look, he looked like shit. I'll say it. Kevin Holland looked like shit. Because he was too worried about running his fucking mouth rather than actually fighting. What this...
You just muted yourself, TJ.
Yeah.
Whoops. Accidentally fucking hit the button. I got excited, hit the fucking space bar on my computer. Shit went out. Okay. What this tells me about fucking Derek Brunson, he's on his last fucking leg. He couldn't finish a Kevin Holland who wasn't focused on the fight, but was focused on talking to Khabib, talking to fucking Derek Brunson, and just fucking talking. That's all he was doing. He wasn't really fighting. If you go back and watch his other fights, because I had to go back and watch some of them afterwards to see, does he really talk this much during every fight? No. He does talk during the fights, but not to the extent that he was talking in this fight. Like this, there was something noticeably wrong. Now, what that was, I don't know, because he was talking the whole way through it, but Derek Brunson couldn't finish him, couldn't put him away in 5 fucking rounds. And to be quite honest, he didn't do that much damage either. He just kind of fucking laid on him like a bump on a log. Look, if you watch Kevin Holland's defense as far as not taking any punishment during this fight, it was phenomenal. He took very little punishment. A lot of the punches that Brunson was throwing while he was fucking inside the guard, not landing. They were blocked. He got a few through, but nothing that did any real damage, which is why Kevin was still running his fucking mouth.
Right.
What this tells me is Kevin Holland's a lot better than this fight showed. And I hate to say that because I was never a big fan of Kevin Holland. But there was obviously something noticeably wrong because he talks in all of his other fights, just not to this extent that he did in this one. So I don't know if he didn't feel like fighting that night or something wasn't lining up. But it also showed me Derek Brunson's fucking shit.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. I think Derek Brunson absolutely looked like shit as well. But I think what you're onto there, I agree with you as well. There was something off about it. I think this was a situation where he couldn't figure out how to get the fuck out from underneath Derek Brunson, and he was overcompensating by trying to talk extra because he was so frustrated with not knowing what to fucking do.
And it could have been that. But it seemed like there was something about his game as a whole that was different. Because if you go back and watch his last fights, his game was on point. This one was not. Even in the stand-up portion, it didn't look right.
He seemed real hesitant all the way around. He was almost too gun
He was
shy.
a little strange. I don't know if maybe he had too much of his own sauce, and so he just took his foot off the gas for this fight, and that might have been the issue. But he's definitely a much better fighter than what he showed. And to be honest, I think he would have a decent shot at the upper echelons of middleweight, but you're not going to get that now that you fucking let Derek Brunson just lay on you, not finish you. I mean, to be honest, this was it was an interesting fight.
Right.
But it was not an exciting fight.
I agree with that completely.
Derek Brunson didn't get anything out of this except a W, which, whatever, that doesn't fucking matter for him because at this point, you stopped a surging Kevin Holland. Whoop-dee-dee-doo, Basil. What does it all mean? Right. For Derek Brunson, not shit, because he couldn't even finish him in 5 fucking rounds. Well, Kevin Holland was jacking at the jaw the whole fucking time. Kevin Holland, the only thing he did, I think, here is he stubbed his toe. He's going to limp for a little bit, and then he'll be back on the pony in middleweight and fucking running the gauntlet again. And to be honest, depending on how long his medical suspension is, we see him here rather shortly.
Well, that's the interesting thing. In the post-fight, he already said he's done trying to play the middleweight game, I believe is how he phrased it. He's going back to 170 because he said at 185, he doesn't have to have any discipline. He can eat pizza the night before weigh-ins, wake up 20 minutes before he has to get on the scale and walk to the scale. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to train extra. He doesn't have to force himself to be regulated. But at 170, it forces him to be disciplined. He has to stay at the proper weight. He has to train extra to keep himself at that weight, and it forces him to pay more attention. And then he called out Bilal Muhammad. Maybe
that's part of the issue here. He doesn't have any of his own discipline. He has to a different weight class to enforce discipline on himself.
I mean,
look,
if that's what it takes,
I'm
willing to give it a chance. I don't know if him versus Bilal's the greatest idea, but I'm willing to entertain it.
Look, I guess this is what I'm saying. If you don't have enough discipline to train hard every fucking day for a fucking profession that this is your job, this is your livelihood, this is how you make your money, this is how you got Fighter of the Year. Look, fucking train harder. Granted, I guess after last year, it's kind of hard to fucking get up and train when you're sleeping in silk sheets.
Silk PJs, that's right. Yeah, you get 5 fights in a year. That's what even Dana said. Like, he made over $1 million last year. His debut year in the UFC, he made over $1 million fucking dollars. So at that point, I imagine he was still pretty high on his own supply, even after that fucking Stewart fight, because then he got the Jacare fucking win. So,
I mean, the only thing that I have to say about him saying that he's going to step down because then it's motivating him. At least he has the balls to say, in this weight class, I don't have the discipline because this is my natural walking around weight. At least he has the balls to admit what he's doing wrong and that he is going to make changes to be better. That's the only upside, and a little bit of respect is going to be thrown in on that, because he's like, hey, he's like, I it's not that, I'm unmotivated. It's just that this is my natural shit. This is what I walk around at. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. That's kind of the way I look at it. I don't think it's necessarily something to brag about, but the fact that he can recognize that when he doesn't have to train and he can literally eat pizza the night before a fucking weigh-in, that he's gonna fuck off.
Yeah.
Some of us who are lifelong procrastinators took longer than others to recognize that we're lifelong procrastinators. The fact that he's willing to recognize, like, yo, when I don't have to do shit, I don't do shit. And then I show up and I haven't done shit. So I get laid on by guys like Derek Brunson. So the fact that he's going to challenge himself and force himself to be accountable and go down to 170, I think is going to do him some good.
Yeah, like I have a good bit of respect for somebody that's going to call themselves out on the lack of motivation or just dedication to what they're doing. I could respect that because you're checking your own shit at that point. I respect that.
Yeah. That's kind of the way I see it. The fact that he's calling himself out on it, that it's not Dana going, this kid's never going to make middleweight again. That he was like, yo, I fucked up. I'm going to make myself do better, period. I can respect that. We'll see if he actually does it or not, but I respect the effort at least. See, this was a bit of a weird call. We got another one of those situations where we didn't get a fucking fight of the night bonus, but we got 4 performance of the night bonus. And the only reason that this bothers me is because they still make a point to brag about people like Cowboy having the most fight of the night bonuses. Well, that's easier to do when you only give a fight of the night once every 9 cards. Like, not to take anything away from the fight of the nights that guys like Cowboys have, because those are fucking earned. They don't toss those fucking fight of the night bonuses around. But if you're only going to give one every fucking 8 cards, every 9 cards, they start to devalue a little bit, especially when you're giving 4 performance of the nights away every fucking weekend. That being said, all 4 of these abso-fucking-lutely earned their 50 grand fucking bonus. But if we're going to make fight of the night mean something like the UFC is making a point to do, then we need one on every fucking card so that everybody has a chance every week to get that fucking bonus so that it means something because you earned it. That being said, performances of the night, Bruno Silva opening the card with a fucking beautiful soup can knockout. Absolutely agreed with that one. Grant fucking Dawson. Absolutely agree with that motherfucker getting himself 50K. Adrian Yanez, that motherfucker got 50K and my fucking attention for damn sure last weekend. And then Max fucking Griffin with just an astonishingly accurate dismantling of Song Kanan. I absolutely agree with all of those 50K bonuses.
I think Tai Tuivasa needed one for not having a fucking beer ready for that motherfucker.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I wouldn't have been mad if Dawson wouldn't have got it and Ty did, but I also understand that strength of schedule, Grant Dawson making his fucking debut in a new weight class against Tai Tuivasa from some last minute contender series dude who he was, for all, other excuses, supposed to fucking go in and just knock out like he did. I mean, I hope the USC kicked him a little something because Dana's known to throw guys small unofficial bonuses after fucking knockouts like that when they couldn't get the 50K. But yeah, I don't know. That was weird. But I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a scary thing, but all of the medical suspensions this week made sense. There wasn't a 6 month where there shouldn't have been. There wasn't a 2 week for a dude who got knocked out. The folks who got their fucking clocks clean got at least fucking 9 weeks. The folks who came out without a fucking scratch got like 3 week suspension. So they literally just have to take a break, heal for a couple weeks, and get right back at it, like they're all going to want to do. I don't want to get used to that because I know we're still in Las Vegas, and that's most likely not going to happen again anytime soon. But we got a quote unquote rational medical suspension week. So we're going to leave it at that, and we're going to move right along, and we're going to pretend that that's a normal thing. That being said, we got a couple of pieces of very interesting news this week. The first one I'm going to talk about here, coming right off of a fucking stellar knockout and then a 50 grand bonus, we found out that Bruno Silva, with that knockout of JP Bays, actually got himself a brand new shiny 4-fight contract for doing so. Congrats to that young man. Always nice to see somebody putting a soup can in their place and getting properly rewarded for it. So now we'll see what Silva can do from there. Hopefully he continues on this stride moving upwards. We got a pairs of announcement yesterday. One on the UFC side of the house, one on the Bellator side of the house here. The Bellator one first for the April 9th Bellator 256 card. Two fan favorites, of course. Liz Carmouche getting back into the octagon, taking on Vanessa Porto, which is going to be a great fucking fight. Vanessa has fought for that belt over there twice, and she gave Julia Budd a hell of a fucking run. And then also on that Bellator 256 card will be Kat Zingano stepping in against Olivia Parker, who is also a pretty badass lady over in the Bellator side of things. So their April 9th card just got two fan favorites stepping in to make that card that much fucking cooler, in my opinion here. The UFC corresponding pair of announcements was for the May 1st card. The first one is Mayra Buena Silva stepping in to take on Poliana Botello. That'll be an interesting matchup. They're both little fucking firecrackers. And then the other one that they announced was another one of these Contender Series fucking soup can ladies making her debut, Luana Pinheiro, stepping in against Randa Marcos, who, for the record, is now at 10-10 in the UFC. And I am fairly confident will be fucking cut that evening if she loses to this soup can. Gonna be interesting to see how that plays out, because you got to be Ray fucking Charles to not see that pressure waiting for you around the corner. Here we go. And then we got for the June 5th card on the UFC side of things, Dusko Todorovic, who has been very interesting. Kind of feels like they're tossing him a softball here. They are giving him Maki Pitolo, who, great fucking name. We love coconut bombs, but talk about disappointment. That motherfucker came into the UFC with a hype train 1,000,000 miles long, and it derailed immediately and just has not been able to get back on the tracks yet. Todorovic, on the other hand, kind of reminds me of a younger, more muscular Stefan Struve. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out, because I feel like that's another one of those where if Maki Pitolo gets his ass kicked by Todorovic, he's likely to get his fucking walking papers too, because I think that puts him at 0-4 in the UFC, and that's generally the bartender cutoff limit. When you lose 4 in a row, they fucking almost always send your ass packing at this point. Honestly, I hope we see Maki get his shit together. I really do. I don't want to see him just get fucking flushed out after all the hype and potential it looked like he had when he first came in. I'd like to see him get his shit together and just say that that was a bump in the fucking road and he was figuring out his coaching or something. But realistically, this might be the last time we see Coconut Bomb step into a fucking UFC octagon. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that one. June 26th, the newly found or newly refound, I guess would be the best way to put it, mullet man himself, Tim Elliott, getting right back into action against the Chinese soccer mom himself, Sumadaji. That will be very interesting because both of those dudes are tiny little fucking firecrackers, and Tim Elliott's trying to put a fucking run together here, so it'd be interesting to see how that one plays out. We found out that the Gators getting back into action, not taking that much time off. May 15th for the UFC 262 card, as of right now, scheduled to take place in Houston, Texas. They have added to the main card Andrew Muniz taking on Jacare himself. Not that I ever wish bad, but I am very curious to see how Jacare is going to come back from that very fucking stiff knockout that he got, because Holland put him to fucking sleep against that fence. May 15th is a fairly quick turnaround for a dude who just got outed a couple weeks back. Well, longer than a couple weeks, but still not a full 6-month protocol, as it were, like they generally do for guys who get put to fucking bed. So I'm wondering if they might be trying to help speed Jacare out the door like they're starting to on some of their more seasoned vets that we've seen here. JDS got cut the night that he fucking lost. So did several other people recently. I don't know. I have a feeling they might be trying to gently usher Jacare towards the door here. We'll see if they play it out that way. We got an announcement for, oh, that's right. It was another announcement for the Todorovic Patolo for the June 5th card. We will finally see the return to the octagon of one Francisco Trinaldo, moving over to welterweight to make his debut at 170, taking on Muslim Salikov, who has had 3 fucking fights in a row fall out on him. So it'd be nice to see Muslim get back in the ring so that he can remember how to fucking fight. Interesting to see how Trinaldo is going to be handling 170 now. And then last minute addition for next month's UFC 261, as of right now, slated to take place in Jacksonville, Florida. They have added to the card one Cowboy Oliveira versus Randy Brown. I'm pretty sure they made that fight once pre-pandemic, and then shit happened in the middle, and now it looks like they're trying to make it again. I'm down for it. Cowboy Oliveira is just fun as shit. He's one of those dudes. He's another one who just always a good time to watch him fight. Randy Brown is trying to make a name for himself, and if you can handle the Brazilian Cowboy, that would definitely do that. On the other hand, if that Brazilian Cowboy has his way with you, doesn't look good, kid. It doesn't look good. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out as well. Then we got a new sign and then a couple of unretirements this week. The new sign we got was over on ONE FC. They have officially signed one Gordon the King Ryan to an MMA and grappling dual match contract. 4 fights, 2 grappling, 2 MMA matches. So that will be interesting to see how it plays out. Gordon Ryan has basically said for years that he has no interest in moving to MMA because he makes such a great living in the world of jiu-jitsu, in the competitions and the trials in jiu-jitsu. So he officially has now signed on and signed with one of all the organizations to do so. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle him, especially now that they've got Bukaskas over there as well, who just got beat by Gordon Ryan the last time he stepped into a competition. That would be pretty cool to see those two go at it in MMA, because the fucking jiu-jitsu matchup between, or the grappling matchup between those two was fucking crazy. Allowing full MMA would make it a lot more interesting, I think. But we got 2 unretirements this week. We haven't had a lot of those lately. Thank goodness. 2 in a week seems like a little weird, but I think these two are going to be kind of allowable. The first one that we found out that we are officially unretiring one Kenny Florian. He has stepped out of the shadows to step back to the desk for PFL. I think that is a very good move. And if you are trying to build your self-credibility, putting Kenny Florian on the desk is a pretty goddamn good way to do it, in my opinion, because that dude has the respect of pretty much everyone in the combat sports world. And you know damn well he ain't no fucking company man. He's going to tell it like it is, and he's going to call it as he sees it. So I'm kind of excited to see them bringing Kenny Florian on, bring a little bit of class to that organization, maybe give him a little bit of hope yet. The other unretirement I'm a little more concerned about. Still very interesting, still excited to see, but I'm not sure it's going to play out quite as well as Kenny Florian coming back to the desk. We found out yesterday and then had confirmed at the 260 press conference this afternoon by Dana White himself. It is official. July 17th, the Cupcake comes back. Miesha Tate is returning to the UFC after a 5-year layoff, stepping right in against Marion Renault, who is coming right off of that Macy Chiasson loss. To be fair, Miesha Tate decided that she was going to step away from fighting at 30 because she wanted to have a family. She has a family. She did some work, some talent representation, some desk work, some other things over at ONE FC for a while. And apparently through the Backstreet Boys making their way through Asia, they have started to really not use her as much as they used to. And with the free time, she has started training again. And once she started training again, she started to get that itch, and she's apparently called Dana and said, you know what, the fucking fire is relit. Let's fucking do this. Because to be fair, when she left, she lost her belt to Amanda Nunes. Understandable fucking loss. Pretty much everybody Amanda fight loses. And then she got handled by Raquel Pennington in a fight that a lot of people said was way too soon after the Amanda loss. She was still in her fucking feelings. She hadn't gotten over the fucking loss yet. And 2 losses in a row, she decided to step away. So now that she's got the family that she wanted, she's had a little time off. She's gone back to training as a mom now, and she still feels that fire. She feels like she's in as good of shape, if not better, than when she left. Let's see. I think Marion Renault is a great fucking challenge to find out, because it's not that Renault is a full soup can, but she's far from the elite right now, especially coming off of that Chiasson loss. If Miesha comes back in and just fucking walks through her, it's going to make ladies 135 very interesting very quickly, especially with the potential of them closing 145, because that's going to force all 6 of those ladies to come back to 135.
You know, that's the of all of the news that we've got in the last couple weeks, that's the one I'm actually most excited about. Because Cupcake, albeit she has a sweet moniker, that girl can fucking fight.
She was a bad girl. I loved watching her
So
fucking brawl, man.
it'll be fun to see what happens. I mean, yeah, she got her arm taken twice by Rousey, but whose arm didn't Rousey take for that long stretch?
Yeah, there's only 2 names in that whole fucking division whose arms didn't get touched by Ronda.
Yep, everyone else's got taken.
Everybody else.
Then she came back, and the girl's got fucking heart. Because I mean, you watched her in the Holly Holm fight, come back to choke Holly Holm out to win the belt after getting dominated for 4 rounds.
She was getting worked, yeah. She
Cupcake's not a cupcake. That's a sweet moniker, and that's it. That girl means business. And I think what she needed that time away from the sport. And to be quite honest, if you're still working in a sport where she's still in prime fighting age. You were working with fighters all the time. She was training this whole fucking time. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't say,
Right.
"Oh, I just started training since the pandemic." No, you fucking didn't. You're if she's playing that.
I bet she doubled down because
Dude,
she's had more free time.
I can guarantee while she was having another baby, she was still fucking training. She may not have been sparring, but I can guarantee you she was still fucking training.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that might be a lot of what happened is that she's always been training. We see most of these athletes, with the exception of DC, once they retire or they step away from the sport, they continue training. They stay in good shape. Look at fucking GSP, for crying out loud.
Fuck, even Michael Bisping after having 2 knee replacements.
Yeah, no shit. They stay in good shape. But I think what might have happened is when she got to look at things from the other side of it, from the desk side of things, from the talent handling side of things, looking at the other side of it, going, I still want to punch people. What the fuck? And then here comes the Backstreet Boys, and now she's got time to spar and to train hard and to really put the work in. And she's like, I can still fucking do this. Also, fuck you, punch, punch, punch. Light bulb.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, I'm thinking part of that was that mama thing kicked in, and I want another baby. So sure, that came in there and play there. Look, can't be mad at somebody for wanting to have a family too.
Not at all.
You know what? I would love to see Mom Champ out there. Let her get it, please.
Yeah, I think things can get real interesting real quick with Misha coming back. If she's serious, I'm with it.
Now, is she gonna step away from commentating, or is she gonna do both?
I think she's gonna step away from commentating.
Because wouldn't that be a conflict of interest for both organizations?
Well, that's one of the things, is that when the tour kicked off, she's one of the people over there who basically got put on hold. So she really isn't doing anything for them anyways.
But I mean, she signed a contract somewhere.
Well, exactly. And I'm sure Mr. Sityong is no fool. And this would not even have been discussed if it hadn't been talked to him first.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, this actually makes him look great, because now one of his representatives has come to the UFC.
I mean, if he has, which I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. If he did clear it, good on him. If he is okay with it, good on him. Respect
Yeah,
that.
I have a feeling he did. That, and Dana's not trying to dip his toe in that fucking water unless he knows he's not going to get his ankles bit.
Have a real nice sit down Zoom meeting with him. Yeah.
Send him a case of Howlerhead. But that will bring us to the namesake for this particular episode here. The reason for the season, this weekend's upcoming pay-per-view event, UFC 260, the Runback, Miocic versus Ngannou 2. One of the craziest heavyweight rematches we have seen in a long fucking time. But we'll get to that heavyweight rematch in just a little bit. This card, I'm still not sure why, opens with one, count them, one early prelim fight. And it's Marc-Andre Barriault versus Abu Azaitar. Fight Island Batman's brother against another soup can at 85. Why? Why not just add that to the fucking regular prelims? Why have one early prelim fight? Well, the good part is that there are actually several fights on the prelims themselves. The bad part is that they suck. With the exception Right in the middle of a pair of yawn-worthy fights is a little gem kind of tucked away. Modestus Bukaskas versus Michael Olekjek. This is probably one of my dark horse fights of this whole card because the main card, to their credit, has some heat in it. The prelims are fucking snooze fests. The early prelim is not worth getting up early for. If you catch it, cool. Don't go out of your way for that. The prelims, I don't get too invested in early on, but in the middle, you're going to want to take a minute and then you can go back and finish your snacks. This Bukaskas fight, both of these guys are just fucking awesome. We've seen both of them come out and look fucking spectacular. I think putting them together is going to be stylistic fucking fireworks. We got some crazy Europeans on crazy European violence, and it generally always comes out pretty fucking good. These two particularly are both very unique in their styles, and I think it's going to be a fun matchup. But getting into the actual fun of this card, the main card itself. I gotta say, even TJ pointed out earlier, it is a little bit ironic that they have got Kamaworthy and Vicente Lukey on the same card when the highlights that they have been running on all of their fucking social media this week are of Kama getting slapped. I will say though, to be fair, for the hype that Kamaworthy came out with, he's ended up on a couple of highlight reels on the wrong end lately. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can get his shit together because Jamie Malarkey is not a world breaker yet, but he's also not a slouch. He might not be the number one dog in the fucking yard yet, but the kid's got fucking heart and he don't quit. We've seen Kamaworthy fold under pressure now, so he better get his fucking big boy pants on because this could be another one of those. We've seen Kamaworthy eat shit too many times in a row. If he does it again here, you're fucking Bellator bound, pal. I'm not sure Malarkey has what it takes to finish Kamaworthy, but I'm not sure Kamaworthy has what it takes to outlast Malarkey as well. I don't think this is going to be the most exciting fight, but I have a feeling that Malarkey at least has the gas tank to outrun Kamaworthy and take this one in the end.
I generally agree with what you're saying. Malarkey has more experience. I think he's a more seasoned pro. I think he's had better showings in fights. But I did make a promise. When Kamaworthy knocked a rapist out, I said I would pick Kamaworthy forever until he's gone from the UFC, no matter what. So, as a man of my word, Kamaworthy is going to win this by first round knockout.
I tip my hat to you for that, sir.
I don't even know what to say about this fight, to be quite honest, because I wasn't planning on talking about the Kamaworthy fight. The only thing I was planning on talking about was that the fact he is the highlight of Vicente Lukey today. It's kind of fucked up that that's the highlight you choose when he's on a fucking card with him. Dumbest shit ever. Whoever fucking came up with that shit, one stupid idiot. However, I have to give Kamaworthy the benefit of the doubt here. I mean, up until September, he was on a 2-fight win streak. He had a knockout and a submission of a very dangerous violent Bob Ross Pena. And then, of course, he ends up on the other end of a fucking highlight reel again because, Kamaworthy's either really doing really fucking great or he's a highlight for somebody else. There's no fucking middle ground for the guy. But he hasn't been on any bad skids. I call him a 50-50 fighter right now. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he just lost his 50 in September. He's going to win this fight here. And that's nothing against fucking old Jim Malarkey there. But I guess Malarkey's got a dog in the fight, even though he's basically a fucking soup can. He's got a puncher's chance, so definitely got to give it to Comworthy. However, I still don't understand how this is on the main card and there's never mind. The rest of the prelims and all that shit is all fucking weird, dude.
I was gonna say, as opposed to
the only other one that I could think that I would put on the main card over that is probably the Alonzo Menafield fight.
I would agree with that if it was still the original fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, considering that this guy's literally a last minute replacement that they found Tuesday to step in, I'm beyond disinterested in it now.
Yeah, it's a really weird the way that they have this whole fucking card set up as a whole. I mean, they definitely, for what's here, have the right fights on the main card.
That's exactly the way I looked at it. At least the main card is understandable.
Yeah.
Because the rest of it is fucking suspect.
Yeah, that's like I want my money back and I haven't even paid for the pay-per-view yet.
Yep.
So for me on this fight, I'm giving it to Worthy for one reason. Hopefully it's going to be the better end of what I'm thinking. Him being the highlight, getting put to sleep, is either going to get in his head and fuck him, or is going to light a fire inside of him that Malarkey cannot stop. I'm hoping it lies a fire in that motherfucker's gut that is just unstoppable. Those are the only two fucking outcomes that you can get of every time you look at the TV for 260. You're seeing yourself get put to sleep.
Yeah, because they're going to be showing that shit backstage in the locker rooms and shit too for the whole fucking fight. Every commercial break, they're going to be showing there. Every time they talk about that fucking fight build up, they're going to show that fucking highlight reel again. So he's going to see it backstage too. Yeah, that's a good point. That's either going to light a fire under his ass or that's just going to fucking mentally crush him before he ever even steps in the cage.
I'm hoping it lights a fire under his ass because he's a damn good fighter. Nothing against Malarkey. Nothing against him. He's got a lot of potential. He's still new in the UFC, but he's got potential. But I hope that fucking lights a fire under Worthy's ass.
We will definitely see. But the good news is that either way, that brings us to the most adorable fight on the card without question. One of my favorite up-and-coming lady fighters, Jillian Robertson, the throat cuddle dealer herself, stepping in to take on a very tough prospect in her own right, Miranda Maverick. This is going to be very interesting. These are two of the new 125 ladies who are really starting to make names for themselves. Jillian Robertson is basically Dean Thomas's shadow. She trains almost every single day, like it or not, rain or shine, hot or cold, doesn't fucking matter. She puts the fucking work in and she puts it on social media so you can watch her fucking grind every goddamn day. Miranda Maverick is a little fucking striking protege, though. That girl has got fucking hands. It's going to be a real interesting matchup because Jillian is a fucking problem for anyone when she gets it to the ground, but we have seen her have problems with strikers before. And kind of the inverse on the other side. We have seen Miranda Maverick have issues when she gets put on the fucking ground, but that doesn't happen all that often because she got hands. it's gonna be a real interesting matchup. I'm very, very curious to see who can get their game plan in. If Robertson can get past that fucking striking, Maverick's in trouble. But we have seen Maverick catch girls on the way in before. It's not easy for me to call, but I think in the long run, the throat cuddles win because Robertson has shown that she can take a couple on the way in. She's a tough fucking girl. And when she gets you, you're in trouble. You're in big fucking trouble. And she's been wearing her throat cuddle dealer shirt all week, ready for it, getting in the zone, getting in that mode. I think somebody's getting throat cuddled. I like Miranda Maverick. I think she's got a bright future ahead of her, but I think Jillian Robertson takes this one. I think she gets it to the ground and she ends it.
I also really like Jillian Robertson. Her work ethic is second to none. If you go over and watch some of her stuff over in SUG, she's pretty relentless. She's pretty darn relentless, and I love that about her style. Miranda Maverick, she's had what, one UFC fight? Yeah. She didn't really get to showcase what she's about. I think this is a good showcase for her. I think Jillian Roberts is actually a good match for her. If she can throw her off of her game, because Jillian Robertson can get thrown off of her game a little bit with those heavy hands, we might see a more interesting fight than I think this will probably have any right to be. Jillian Robertson is obviously going to work for that ground game. She's going to try and take her down. If she can connect a couple times and stay on her feet, Miranda Maverick, she's got a solid chance of taking this fight. I see this one probably going to decision. I want to say, I think Jillian Robertson will probably work her into a corner and probably come out on top. But there's always a pretty good chance that Miranda Maverick punches her way out of this fight. So, this one could really go either way. And I think kind of like the ladies fight last week, like it was far more entertaining than it had any right to be. I think this one will probably be along those lines as well.
Yeah, the way I see this going is going to be a decision win on Robertson then, because I think she's going to play a little bit smarter, seeing how Maverick is pretty fucking good with her hands. And I don't think she's going to have a hard time getting in to take Maverick down, but I think she's going to be more, I guess, careful with her rush ins for takedowns, for her single legs, and pushing her up against the fence. So I think it'd be more of a point fight style of see where I can do my damage, take it, step out, and then just run distance, keep distance, and just run the fight.
This is a weird fight for me because, to be quite honest, I don't know how Miranda Maverick, being so new to the flyweight division, pulled Jillian Robertson. However, they've been kind of using Jillian Robertson as kind of that gatekeeper test for the women's flyweight division, because as much as I like what Robertson does on the ground, that girl needs to get some fucking hands, because she's got none. Absolutely fucking zero. But goddamn, does she have a good ground game. To be honest, I wouldn't be mad if she left the UFC totally and went straight submission underground and nothing but grappling. Because, to be honest, I think that's the world she's best suited for. I'm not mad at her for staying in the UFC because she's still doing all right.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're ever going to see her anywhere near the flyweight title. However, I think for Miranda Maverick here, this is a good chance to put kind of a cap of saying, yeah, I'm worth the price of admission here. And I think it's going to go one of two ways. If Miranda gets taken down, she's fucked. That's it. But from what we've seen so far, her striking looks pretty on point. So she might be able to keep Robertson on her heels enough to not be able to get that takedown. Hopefully she's been training her fucking takedown defense, because if she has, it's going to be a rough night for Robertson. However, the inverse applies. Maverick goes down, it's going to be a rough night for her. So it's going to be kind of a toss-up. Like, to be honest, I'm a 50-50 coin flip on this. I'm calling even odds on this fight. I don't foresee a clear winner here. And to be quite honest, I could very well see it going the distance. But, I mean, we'll see. If it doesn't go the distance, it's going to be for this reason. I think Maverick would end up getting a TKO or a KO if it doesn't go the distance. If it goes the distance, Robertson wins all day long.
Interesting indeed. Yeah, this is one of those fights that realistically there's a pretty good chance it could go either way. Like, if Miranda gets loose early and Jillian isn't smart with her fucking takedown attempts, I can absolutely see Miranda putting a fucking hurt on her real bad real early. But if Jillian can stay smart and not put herself in danger and stay out of the reach until she needs to get in and close the distance and get her to the ground, boy, is this a bad fucking night for Miranda Maverick once that shit hits canvas. Oh, but that will bring us to the people's co-main event, unfortunately, on this particular fucking card. Speaking of things you don't understand how they got to the main card here, this is a prime example of that. Sugar Douche O'Malley stepping back in against Thomas Almeida. This is essentially supposed to be a gimme fight to get O'Malley back on track, because you can tell the UFC has absolutely been putting their entire fucking media train behind O'Malley since they signed him. They want him to be the next big thing so bad it fucking hurts. And they got so butthurt when Cheeto put that motherfucker on his ass. But, you know, personality don't make fights. The fact that he's still walking around saying that he's undefeated because he doesn't think he lost that fight shows that you might have personality, but you don't have intelligence, and you can't be a personable idiot in the UFC and last very fucking long, especially not when you get your ass kicked. So the soup cans that they threw at O'Malley, they were the early training wheels. And then when they started putting him towards even moderate talents in Cheeto Vera, now to be fair, Quinones should have beat his fucking ass, but Quinones came out gun shy for whatever fucking reason. So Cheeto had to do the fucking heavy work. But Almeida, we have seen hot and cold, hot and cold. The thing that I'm hoping here is that the hot we've seen Almeida show is better than the quote unquote serious O'Malley that we saw. Hang on. Sorry, apparently a leaf blew across my front yard. But Almeida is not a world breaker. The good news for him is that O'Malley has a lot of holes in his fucking game and has an ego that can barely fit through a fucking doorway. So if Almeida can just keep to a basic, simple fucking game plan and throw a couple of low kicks in here and there, this fight should be all but one for him. The problem is if Almeida comes in gun shy for any fucking reason, the douche train is going to start fucking rolling on him, because when he gets loose, the douche train can throw some weird angled fucking shots. And a guy like Almeida, who's fairly basic, can be real susceptible to shit like that. The good news is that if he plays it smart, even basic Almeida can outwork O'Malley easily. And I'm hoping that's exactly what we see. I want the douchebag to be exposed for the douchebag he is. I'm just afraid that Almeida might not be able to show up Saturday night and do that for us. But fingered crossed. If I have to pick one of the two here, I will absolutely pull for Almeida over O'Malley all fucking day. No question.
With Sugar Sean, we've got another case of someone who's kind of working a character at this point. That's how I see him. Characters make it quite a ways in the UFC. Whatever his weird ass leg issues were last time, he did Cheeto Vera did expose him for the chump that he is. But I fully see that, like, this is as big of a gimme fight as you can get. You got a dude who's got a suspect chin in Almeida. You got a striker who comes at you from every angle possible that you don't see coming and just lays fools out. So as much as, I mean, people dislike Sugar Sean or they really, really love Sugar Sean, I find myself fairly indifferent to him, but I do respect his game. And I think that this is as big a gimme fight as you're ever going to get. So I see this going Sugar Sean. I don't see this making it past the second.
As much as I want to see Sugar Sean completely disrailed from his fucking hype train, I don't think that Thomas Almeida is the guy to do it here. Almeida has been an absolute shit show for like the last 2 years. Maybe 3 at this point. But he hasn't done anything noteworthy since, 2018? So, I mean, at this point, they're just feeding Sean O'Malley another W to get him back on track after his fluke loss. Look, it wasn't a fluke. You got fucking worked. Just take the loss on the chin, and you'll get a lot more respect from a lot more people, myself included. To be honest, all he is a fucking clown. And unfortunately, the UFC is going to keep feeding him shit like this. We're going to see more and more of the fucking clown. And unfortunately, the only clown I ever wanted to watch was fucking Bozo. That dude's done since past. So, you know what? Fuck this fight. Fuck any fight that Sean O'Malley's in, unless it's on the other end of a fucking steam train coming through to blast us. Not to mention, this is something I do want to address. Normally, I don't care to address the fucking UFC's pre-fight fucking bullshit for these cards. But there was a spot during the Embedded series where this stupid cocksucker, I think I scared Francis a little. No, your tiny ass did not. Shut the fuck up. The dumbest shit I've ever heard come out of anybody's mouth. And then he tried to play in the other thing that pissed me off the most, and this is coming from the me being a parent side. Does having a kid give you more will to win? Nope, I always had the will to win. Fuck you. Fuck you right in your goddamn face. I hope his shit gets kicked in so his daughter can grow up and see what a piece of shit her father is.
To be fair, he's kind of a specialist in saying stupid shit lately. This is also the same idiot who said that he could try heroin no problem because addictions are for pussies. He's mentally stronger than that.
Yeah. Anyway, he says some really dumb shit, and to be honest, it made me question his parenting ability, which, to be honest, that's worse than anything you can do in the fucking fight game. You know, for me, yeah, fuck you, dude. Just fuck right off.
So, what I hope is going to happen, Thomas Almeida might have a suspect chin, but I mean, he's fought some fucking a couple top dogs in his day. He knows what's up. I think that he'll be able to withstand and keep distance on what O'Malley is gonna do, because O'Malley is that first round. He's just pressure. There's no feel out, get the timing down. He just swings for the fucking fences, and I think that's really gonna fuck him up with somebody like Almeida, who's been in the UFC for a while, knows what he's doing, might have a suspect chin, but I mean, the man knows that, so he's covering the fuck up. He's playing smart, and he's just gonna pick his shots and just pick O'Malley apart because he's nothing more than a fucking soup can that just beats up on other soup cans. And Almeida he's like an unlabeled can. I wouldn't say soup can. He's just unlabeled. He's in the factory. He fell off. He got thrown into a cart, and there's just not a Campbell's tomato soup label on him yet.
I could see that. I could see that as well. But that shit out of the way. Before we actually jump into our co-main and main event here, I do want to take just a moment here because I forgot to mention it earlier. This weekend, Sunday night on UFC Fight Pass, Submission Underground 21 kicks off, and they have kind of gotten a little bit back to their roots. This is very much a giant 10th Planet takeover attempt. I think there are 6 different 10th Planet matches on this card here, but some of the big ones here, we have got Bellator's Alimile McFarlane, 10th Planet badass herself, stepping in to take on Jessica I, who I believe is 0-3 in the Submission Underground world now. So it'll always be good to see Jessica I get fucking worked like a clown. We've got Andy Varela stepping in to take on Satoshi Ishii. Ishii is not giving up. He is a giant judo monster, and he is convinced that he can do jiu-jitsu as well. So he's getting right back in there. Then we have got the return of fucking tag team jiu-jitsu, and this is fucking awesome to see. It is exactly what you think it is. It is a Submission Underground jiu-jitsu match with 2 people on each fucking side, wrestling style, where you stick your hand out and you tag and swap. It is fucking awesome. And this weekend we have got the danger of the Simon cousins. We have got Team GFC, and then Team Simon. Ricky and his cousin John Simon stepping in for some tag team action. They have done this twice before, once in Submission Underground, once in a different league where they actually did some other outside the norm jiu-jitsu competitions where they did some tag team matches as well. But Submission Underground tag team jiu-jitsu is fucking awesome, as long as Craig Jones isn't in there. So this weekend's will be fun. But then we've got 2 fucking crazy co-main and a main event here for you. We have got the 10th Planet badass herself, Amanda Lowen, the ladies champion of Submission Underground, taking on the happy warrior Roxanne Modafferi, coming for some Submission Underground. And if you've seen Modafferi before, she may not be the greatest striker, but that's because she focuses almost all her time on her fucking jiu-jitsu. So Amanda Lowen, being the 10th Planet badass that she is going to be real interesting to see what happens when Modafferi steps in and she's really in her fucking element without getting punched in the face here. But then we've got another title match in the main event. The king himself, Mason fucking Fowler, who has beaten everyone for, I believe, 9 events in a row they have put in front of him, putting his belt on the line against the boogeyman himself, Richie Martinez. That rubber motherfucker always makes things very interesting, but Mason Fowler is so goddamn crafty. It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out as well. I love Team 10th Planet, but man, some of those fucking matches are going to be really, really close. So if Saturday night UFC doesn't fill your quota, if Saturday night does not fill your quota of combat sports, you always have Sunday evening for a little top off with some Submission Underground. Now, that being said, that'll bring us back over to the UFC side of the house here for the, I guess we have to call it that now. It is, I guess, the new co-main event here in one Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Lukey. I'm not real excited about this one. I don't know that anyone is, but we're still going to talk about it here. So, like we did last week here, I'm going to let someone else take the lead first. We're each going to give our part, and then at the end, we will decide who we think gave the best argument for this fight.
All right, Tyron Woodley. You fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. You fooled me twice, motherfucker. I thought you were getting back on track the last couple fights that you've had. It's a shame to see a champ lose a step, lose his ability to go in there and be a killer and be the champ that we knew. Just a wrestling powerhouse that could just he could wrestle hump the world and nobody could stop him. He has not been able to get back on track. He has not been able to do anything these last couple of fights. They go to decision, he gets his ass handed to him. He's not fighting someone who's going to take him to decision on this one. He's fighting Vicente fucking Lukey. Lukey is going to knock him out. It's just a matter of time because Woodley's hesitant. He doesn't know who he is anymore. He keeps saying that he found it. He keeps saying that he found it. He keeps saying that he found it. He has yet to do anything of the fucking sort. He's scared. He's gun shy, and he's about to get knocked the fuck out by Vicente fucking Lukey. I think it'll probably happen somewhere in the second. I think Vicente is gonna set him up and lead him around and walk him into something and just clean Woodley's clock. And it's just like I said, it's a shame to see this happen to a former champ, but he has not shown me that he's gotten it back. He has no idea what sort of a fighter he is anymore. And it's a crying shame because Woodley was on top of the world. He was on top of the world, and now he's going to get turned off on Saturday. Mark my words on this one. He's getting turned the fuck off. Probably, like I said, probably in the second. And I don't like seeing it, but he's fooled me too many times into thinking that he's got his fire back, and he just does not.
This fight right here is Tyron's shit or get off the pot moment. In my opinion, if he loses this fight, they cut him from the fucking UFC. We've seen them already cut other former champs. What's another one to add to the fucking list? Let's just look at what, we'll start here, what Vicente Lukey has done recently. KO, fucking, his last loss was in fucking 2019 against Wonderboy, and he took Wonderboy to decision. Look, Vicente Lukey is not the greatest in the welterweight division, not by a fucking long shot. Nor do I think he has a chance of winning a fucking title shot anytime soon. Or if he does get a title shot, there's no way in fucking hell he wins it. I just don't see him having that greatness in him. How we can dive into what T Wood has had, which has been a whole lot of shit. Since he fought Kamaru Usman, he's just fucking falling apart. One day at a fucking time. He can't seem to get back on the pony. Fresh said it. He said, I've got it. No, you fucking don't. Because if you got it, you'd stop playing counterpuncher and go back to the Tyron Woodley we knew, which is wrestle fuck the shit out of somebody because you're a fantastic fucking wrestler. Instead, you want to sit in your corner and wait for somebody to swing at you so you can throw a right. Nah, motherfucker. The only way Tyron wins this fight, and the only fucking way that he wins this fight, is to go back down to WrestleFuck City which Dana White hated him so fucking much for, and win it that way. I want to see a boring fight. And by boring, I want to see him wrestle fuck the shit out of Vicente Lukey, because I would like to see Tyron get back on the pony, because it is a fucking sad thing to see a former champ fall from grace in such a fucking just. It's like a cartoon when you see them falling down a fucking mountainside and it just keeps going and going and going and going. That's what's happening to Tyron right now. He needs to hit the fucking bottom. I'm hoping after that last showing that he hit the bottom, but to be quite honest, I'm not convinced. I don't think he has. So as much as this pains to say me, I think Vicente Lukey gets it done unless he gets counterpunched, because that's the only thing Tyron is looking for is a counterpunch. But Vicente Lukey's got a good fucking forward pressure game, so I don't foresee that counterpunch working out in his favor. And the only other way he wins it, though, is he's going to have to wrestle fuck the shit out of Vicente Lukey. And to be honest, the knockout strength that Vicente Lukey has, it's there. He can easily sleep he can easily sleep T Wood. He needs to change his moniker because he's no longer the chosen one. He's the fighter that you skip over when you have to choose your fighter in the loading screen right now. Period. I think Vicente Lukey gets it done, I think, third round.
Interesting.
TJ, I think I disagree. I think he is the chosen one this Saturday to get his fucking walking papers, because fuck T Wood. I know Meter. I know I've told this story to Meter a couple times about my burning passion to fucking hate Tyron Woodley. The way I see this is that he's going to go into WrestleFuck, but it's going to be that spot on, just money shot, Derek Lewis style, fucking shovel hook uppercut right to the fucking face of Woodley, and it's going to put him asleep mid to late second round. That's how I'm going to call this, because I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to work out. I'm going to end this with fuck Tyron Woodley.
On that note, Tyron Woodley matters. No, I'm just kidding. I think Tyquil goes to sleep. I think Tyquil goes to sleep in the beginning of the third round, because he has been falling in and out of love with MMA since long before Kamaru bitch slapped him in front of his mama. I think Vicente had a couple of hiccups on his path up to the top, but he has shown time and time again that he is one of the toughest fucking welterweights the UFC has seen in a long goddamn time. He is not afraid to take one to give one, and he can take some big fucking shots, bigger than what I think Woodley is capable of still throwing at this point, and he can absolutely put that shot on the money to shut his opponent off. And we have seen that Woodley is beyond gun shy and a shell of what he used to be. So I think, just like what Kamaru did to him, I think Vicente puts him up against the fence and bitch slaps him until the referee peels him off in the beginning of the third round. So that being said, I vote TJ.
I vote Fresh.
Fresh.
I vote TJ.
All right, RJ. Fresh or TJ? Take your pick.
Fresh.
All right, I'll give it to Fresh. So Fresh pulls the point on the first one, assuming it plays out right. So that will bring us to our main event of the evening, the marquee of marquees in 2021 so far, the rematch that has been long awaited and will indefinitely shape the landscape of the heavyweight division going forward, knowing that John Jones is in the wing for whoever comes out with this belt. Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou 2. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
I'll take the lead on this one for you guys because, I'm a nice guy like that. There's a whole lot that's in this fucking fight right now, being as it is the second coming. Francis Ngannou has... I'm going to start with the challenger here. Francis has definitely earned that right at a title shot again. Without a shadow of a doubt, just murdering people. Everybody who steps in there fucking slept. He's back to being that scary motherfucker that we all thought could possibly take Stipe in the first fight. Now, supposedly, him working with Kamaru Usman, they've been working on some wrestling defense. And that's where I go in and I say, let me stop you right there. One camp of wrestling defense does not a wrestler make you. All that shows is you took a little more time to practice that, knowing you're going to get taken down again. Hopefully they taught him how to stand back up, because obviously he didn't know how to do that in the first fight, which is why he got worked so effortlessly at that point. His boxing game has improved tenfold since the first fight. If you watch how fast his hands are now compared to what they were, for a fucking heavyweight, he has ungodly hand speed. That's a scary dude. And not to mention, we're starting to see him implement kicks into his fights now. There's something going on there, definitely. Francis is definitely taking a step up. Oh, coming across here, without a shadow of a doubt, to this point in time, the greatest, the GOAT of heavyweight fighters, Stipe. I will call him that fucking outright. He had one little stumble there, came back, got his title back. That one little stumble was a fluke incident. He got hit right on the fucking out button because he took way harder shots from Francis in the first fight than the shot that DC got him with. DC literally got the luckiest fucking shot in the world. Not mad at him for it. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. But Stipe's a fucking all-around fighter. He's got a pretty good stand-up game. I mean, look how he worked fucking DC after looking like he was going to get worked in their second fight. He adjusted his game plan and beat that body. Now, is he going to be able to do that to Francis? Beat the body? No. Have you seen what that dude lets people do to his body? Even at heavyweight, you're not doing much to that man. He's not soft-bodied like DC is. But he does have a good fucking wrestling game. Something Francis does not. Look, I can say Francis does not have a wrestling game because we've never... One, he's never used it. Two, he's never used it. And three, when he's had to play defense, he's ended up on his back. Albeit it's only the one time he couldn't get up. So Stipe's definitely got him there. Not to mention, I still think Stipe has a better gas tank than Francis does. When's the last time we seen Francis go 3 rounds? Can anybody name a fight that went 3 rounds with Francis recently?
Blade
No.
or not? Blades Lewis. That was a 3-round decision.
That does not count. That was the most boring fight in UFC history for a fucking reason.
You asked.
I said
He has a
in
point.
recent history. That's like 2 years ago now. Or has it been almost 3 now since that?
Yeah, I was 18.
Yeah. So it's been a fucking while. Recently, no 3 rounds. And of course, anybody can go 3 rounds when you're just going in circles around each other. You're basically dancing for 15 minutes. My out of shape fat ass can dance for 15 minutes. I might be sucking wind at the end of it, but I can dance. To be honest, Stipe has proved over and over again why he dominates the heavyweight division, why he's earned the title shot, why he's gotten it back after a fluke incident. He literally is the GOAT of the heavyweights. Now, with that being said, Francis has really gotten his boxing has improved so goddamn much, it's scary. Like, normally I say, yeah, everybody's got a puncher's chance. Francis has more than a puncher's chance when it comes to punching. He's got what I'll call a clipping chance, meaning all he has to do is clip him. He doesn't even have to hit him flush. And Stipe could go to sleep. However, we did see Stipe take quite a bit of shots from him in the first fight and did not sleep. So we know he's got a chin. But there is a button on there, obviously, because DC managed to somehow pull the magic horseshoe out of his ass and fucking hit that button. But that's also like winning a jackpot at a casino. They go off once in a while. Why? Because that's to keep people coming back for more. But just because it goes off once in a blue moon doesn't mean you're going to be the guy to do it. I don't think Francis can win this fight unless he clips Stipe right on the button. Because no matter what, Stipe's game plan, guaranteed, is to wrestle and take this to the ground. I doubt he stands and bangs this out with somebody who's so fucking dangerous on their feet. And for that reason, he's going to take him down. I don't care how long Francis has been working with Usman for the last 3-4 months, whatever the fuck it is, whether he's cornering him or not. Usman can yell all the fucking wrestling directions from the corner in the goddamn world. But Francis doesn't have the muscle memory for it yet. So therefore, it's not going to fucking work. Francis is going to end up on his back. Stipe is going to end up finishing the fight with Francis on his back. That's all there is to it. It might not be in the first round. It might not be in the second. He might drag it out into the third or fourth. But eventually, Stipe will get it done with Francis on his back. Don't get me wrong. Francis does have that knockout power capability, but I think everybody's going to be riding high on Ngannou as far as bookies and all of that are concerned. I think they're going to overlook Stipe again because you know what? This man never gets anywhere near the respect that he fucking deserves. Stipe and still, Francis, sorry about your luck, man. 0-for-2. There's no trilogy fight there.
I'm going to disagree. I think Francis Ngannou is going to lurk on this fight, and he's going to, I think, you know, if he had any wrestling defense at all, I think he probably would have won the first one, because the dude carries not just knockout power, like snatcher soul power from start to finish. And if he could have gotten to his feet and actually, you know, made a valiant effort of the thing, I think he probably would have won. He got his shot. He got a few shots in, and Stipe is a tough motherfucker. Like, I will never take anything away from Stipe. I think he has to be listed as the greatest of all time as far as heavyweights go. Just the things that he's done with the title belt. But I think Francis has been lurking and planning for this fight for how long now? When's the last time we saw Francis Ngannou in the ring? I'm pretty sure the last time we saw him was just blasting. Who did he?
Curtis Blades.
Was it? Yeah, it was Curtis Blades. He just unhinged him, and it took one shot. Since then, Francis Ngannou has done nothing but prepare for this fight. I guarantee it. Stipe's had a couple defenses. He's had his eye almost removed by DC in the meantime, but Francis Ngannou sitting on the sidelines, waiting and getting ready for this fight. And I think he's going to lurk. And I think that it's just going to be, it may just be that one shot. Like he's just going to sit there and wait for that one shot, for his one opportunity. Just to unload everything that he's got. And I think this is going to be a relatively strategic fight at the start, because Lord knows Stipe doesn't want to get hit with those shots again. He does not want to get hit, but may not have a choice on this one. I'm picking Francis Ngannou. I don't think this sees past the second round. I think somewhere in the first or the second, Francis Ngannou, who has had nothing to do but plan and wait for this fight, is going to uncork something, and we're all just going to go, oh, just like every time that he lands one of those knockout blows. It's going to be ugly, and I think that Stipe probably deserves better, but this fight has been in the waiting for way too long. The man has had way too long to plan for nothing but this fight. It's party time. It's Francis Ngannou's time. And it's going to be a problem getting that belt off of his waist.
So I'm going to start off talking about old Francis Ngannou. I'm going back to the Stipe Ngannou 1 fight. Ever since then, the only true competition since that fight that Ngannou actually had was the Lewis fight. That was the only person that was actually competition for him. Since then, it was Lewis, a very young Curtis Blades who had no fucking reason being in the ring with a murderer such as Ngannou, the shell of what was left of the beat to shit, piece back together, beat to shit, then piece back together, Cain Velasquez, who shouldn't have been fighting. Dos Santos shouldn't have fucking happened. And then Rosenstruik. I'm calling Blade shouldn't have fucking happened. That was a gimme fight to get him back up. Velasquez shouldn't have happened. Did that to get him back up. And Dos Santos had no fucking chance. They had to, like, between Velasquez and Dos Santos, they had to dump just a truck of money in their front lawn to say, hey, you're going to lose, but here's this, because you don't have a chance. So taking those 3 fights out of the question, the only fights that he had that were actual legitimate competition that had a chance to beat him is Lewis and Rosenstruik, because the other 3 had a puncher's chance, but good fucking luck. Those are the only 2 people that had a remote chance. I think if Stipe plays distance, plays smart, which we all know he does, and keeps distant, threatens for the takedown, attack the legs, that entire first round, that second round, Stipe comes in, starts to take over, because then Ngannou's on questionable legs, can't really hit those power shots because you're not able to actually dig down and throw from the entire body. You're just throwing upper at the hip and the shoulder. that takes away a fuckload of his power and a lot of his momentum and a lot of his movement. And that gives Stipe just that much more of an advantage to go in for takedowns because he is very much demobilized. He's not going to be fucking walking around as quick. So then all Stipe really has to worry about is watch their shoulders. Where are their shoulders going? That's about it. If Stipe can last through the first round, he'll take that fight. If he can last, because nobody else except for Lewis since Stipe Ngannou won, if nobody's gotten through that very first round, if you can get through that first and play distant, play smart, point fight, and go down for takedowns, you will embarrass a murderer in Francis Ngannou. And those are things that Stipe has down to an art form. I take it's going to run it back to a decision victory for Stipe.
Very interesting. So here's the thing about Francis Ngannou. Of all of his fights in the UFC, 2 of them have seen the distance. Derek Lewis and Stipe Miocic. Derek Lewis got to see the distance because neither one of them were willing to throw the first punch and leave themselves open for that counter. Stipe Miocic, he saw the distance because Stipe didn't give him a chance to end the fight and couldn't quite turn him off himself. Other than that, Francis Ngannou has gone out and force astrally projected every single person they have put in front of him. The UFC's plastic surgeon has got to be Francis's biggest fucking fan there is, because he sends him work every single time they bring him around. Francis Ngannou has terrifying power. The problem with that is that he has some of the least accurate shots in the UFC. When he touches you, he shuts the fucking lights off. But the problem is when he knows he's got you in range, he can and will literally just swing. And when you swing at air and you miss, it takes more energy out of you than when you swing at something and when you hit. And we saw in the first time that Stipe and Francis fought, Francis hits real fucking hard, but Francis misses a lot. And when Francis misses, he leaves himself wide open for counter shots, for takedowns, for just Stipe to move the fuck out of the way and completely rearrange the fight on him. The other problem with that is, aside from Stipe, not one single person in the UFC has put Francis Ngannou on his back, has even gotten close enough to put a valiant effort in for it. And Stipe did it, 6 times, 7 times last time they did that? So while Francis might have been preparing for this fight, we also know that Francis's preparation consists predominantly of boxing and striking practice. Yes, he throws some wrestling practice in. We've seen him do a little bit of wrestling in his social media and his embedded work, but just because Kamaru Usman's in your corner giving you wrestling advice doesn't mean you're at the level that you can respond with what he wants yet. You're trying to sprinkle wrestling on top of striking. And we saw the first time that doesn't work. Least of all against Stipe Miocic. So when you flip that coin over and you look at Stipe, out of Stipe's, we'll just say last 10 fights in a row, how many of them have seen him get knocked out? just one. And the reason that he got knocked out in that one fight was because the guy that he was fighting in that situation didn't show any threat of the strike that knocked him out. Stipe had left his guard down to DC's attack on that side, and DC caught him unguarded right on the button. Has anyone, including 2 more fights with DC since then, landed that same button pushing shot? No, sir. That was a hole in Stipe's game that he got made painfully aware of and immediately paved the fuck over and painted so you never knew it was there. That window is gone. That button's there somewhere, but you'll never find it as easily as DC did again. And we know for a fact that no one since Stipe has challenged Francis the way that Stipe challenged him. So train all you want. You're not training for what you lost to. You're training for what you wanted to do so you can try and do that again. But Albert Einstein said it best. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. The only thing different between this fight and the last fight is 10 more pounds off Stipe and a little bit more suave of a haircut. Francis, though he might have terrifying power, still does not have game plan. Francis's entire strategy is and always has been punch, punch hard, punch again if it didn't work the first time. That will get you through some fights. But as Brock Lesnar painfully learned himself, that one trick pony can get put down real fucking easy. And when you get ragdolled like Francis got ragdolled and is going to get ragdolled, makes for a real long night, no matter how much power you got in your punches. So I think we see the exact same result we saw last time. I think Stipe takes it to the decision by grinding the ever-living fuck out of a very, very exhausted Francis Ngannou for 5 rounds. Hashtag and still.
Talking about insanity, didn't he try to get to France like 7 times and kept getting caught and sent back to Cameroon? Yeah. That was like 7 times or something like that, right?
Something, yeah, 6 or 7 times, something like that.
I think he has an underlying occurrence of insanity.
Right? So, that being said, I'll give my vote to RJ.
Mine goes to not Joe.
I'm going with RJ.
I was going to go with Meter.
Well, so then you two got to vote off.
Well, in that case, I don't know. I was gonna say because the second was fresh, but you know, that's just not, I really wanted to vote for the heel here.
Well, now you got to revote.
I have to revote again?
You and TJ got to revote because RJ and I tied.
I still go RJ.
Well, then, to break the tie, we must go RJ.
All right. So, Fresh is on the line for the first one. RJ's on the line for the second one. I have a feeling RJ has a pretty good chance of getting the point this week. But there is always the possibility that the healed card comes through, because if anyone is the living definition of a puncher's chance, it's Francis fucking Ngannou. So there is always that chance. But the only way to find out for sure is going to be to tune in this Saturday night to UFC 260 and then subsequently to Sunday for Submission Underground 21. But that is all we've got for this particular episode of the show here. So before we get on out, I would like to take just a moment to thank these fine folks for coming along here and being part of this shit show and getting into the shenanigans with us here. So first and foremost, if somebody wants to learn what the new beard care regimen is and got you looking all less scrubby than normal, how can they get some advice and some fight tips from you, RJ?
You can always come over to Instagram, find me at RJ MMA Official. Talk to me about what I'm doing different with my beard, which is absolutely nothing. I mean, I trimmed it up a little bit yesterday. That's about it. You can come over there, RJ MMA Official, talk some shit with me, and come talk to me about how hard it is to actually keep a mouthpiece in your mouth, because I can give you tips like tighten the cheeks, keeps it in place in the back better. But yeah, thank you for having me. Like always, man. Love being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for making the time to be here. We appreciate you. And with that being said, I don't know how they could not have been on board, but especially now seeing as how we've got him live and in person this weekend. If someone still hasn't signed up for the Hug a Chalathon yet, how can they get a hold of you after the show, Fresh03?
YouTube.com/Fresh03. I don't know if we're doing anything Friday, but for sure Saturday we'll be doing some mixes and getting everybody prepared for the apocalypse as it slowly descends on us. So come hang out. I'll teach you everything I know.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Much appreciated. And then last but most certainly not least, if someone has decided that the spring weather has got them feeling a little giddy and they need to adventure out and get themselves some cheese curds and see if they can perhaps catch a Kenosha sighting, how can they get a hold of you after the show for a little information there, Mr. Golf T?
Wednesday nights, right here on the YouTubes. See me here at 9:30 Central Time. And of course, every Thursday here. You can always hit me up on the Instagrams. I'll give you directions and, we'll send you where the cheese is freshest.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Always appreciated. So with that being said, folks, we are going to call that all for this particular episode. So thank you to everyone who tuned in, whether you are here with us live, we appreciate you guys as well, or you're catching this on a replay. We appreciate you just the same. If you do enjoy what we are doing around here on the I'm No Joe podcast, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. If you really love what we do around here, share an episode with a friend. We're trying to grow the damn thing. On the other side of that coin, if we're just a couple of dudes and a young boy gluing fur to his face talking about fighting and we don't know what we're actually saying here, give us a thumbs down because we earned it and we won't dispute it. But that being said, we are going to go ahead and call that all for this particular episode of the show. So thank you again to everyone for tuning in. So until next time, folks, remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Unless you think we're going to be here next week because we got a week off, bitches.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.